Too many teardrops for one heart to carry on. You're way on top now.
Good morning, campers. It's Susie Smart with the news, or it was the news. That pesky little cat sneaked in here. That's actually Keyboard Cat. May he rest in peace. There have been many keyboard cats over the years. They belong to a gentleman named Charles Schmidt. And anyway, he did one a couple years back with Keyboard Cat playing 96 Tears, and we almost hired that cat. He would have fit quite well in the band. Good morning, good morning. I hope I have sound. I'm having all kinds of issues, and that's about normal. It says I have sound, and it says I have speakers, and I don't know about camera, and doesn't matter. I don't have any people, so what the heck difference does it make? Oh my goodness. And so I'm up. Class is in session. Don't know why. I'm very depressed this morning. But, it's the funny thing. Even if the teacher's depressed, they're supposed to go to class anyway and do whatever it is they do. I'm really not in the mood to be here. I'm not. I had someone that I consider very important to my channel just flat stabbed me in the back last night during their stream. Basically called me a liar about an incident that happened several months ago that I have all the documented proof for. And at this point, I'm ready to just, yep, there's the big zero, nobody watching. So you know what? School's out. School's out for the day. Channel may be out indefinitely. I am so over people that will not be truthful. I'm sick of yeah, I don't even know what to say. So instead of sitting here complaining and griping, I mean, he knows who he is, and he knows what he did, and I'm going to deal with it later today, but it's just wrong. Wrong. Good morning, James Eller. I don't know if you were in the room last night when the dagger got shoved into my back or not, but it was not, I'm just not very happy this morning. Plus my jaw is killing me. And I have to go into the hospital tomorrow. So just in general, Susie Smart doesn't feel very smart right now. But we're going to do something anyway. As soon as I can get YouTube to cooperate. There it goes. I've been streaming. Okay, sound, night, but I had all this stuff open and I don't know where it went. Everything closed. Well, he never does want to admit anything. But I have both of those streams downloaded. Good morning, Texas Joe. How are you? James, I have both of those streams downloaded. Plus, I have all of the emails from those people and all of the communications from YouTube where they had to go back in and clean that mess up. So, that on that day, he made a choice to start abandoning me and my channel. So at this point, I'm not going to ban him, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him. Anyway, Texas Joe, thank you so much for sending me the message the other night that I had won a prize, because I was just about asleep and I truly would not have known, but I actually won the March birthday drawing over at Big T and Mama T's and won $50. That was like a big deal. Yeah, well, as far as I'm concerned, he can sleep forever right now. I don't even want to talk to him. That's my brother that did that to me. So, yeah, let's get off that topic. I'm going to go over here and find us some kind of funny news today. I just wish my mouth would quit hurting. I woke up about 4 and they don't know what's wrong. They sort of think I have TMJ. The only problem is I don't have any teeth to grind. So, and it only hurts when my ear hurts. So they don't really know what's wrong in there. And as soon as I get done with my show, I got to call the ear, nose, and throat lady and tell her that the primary care lady says she needs to look around in there somewhere. So, don't ever get old, people. Don't get old. When you get old, stuff stops working. Or it just works in like ways that it is not supposed to. So right now I am ill prepared because I was still up at 4 o'clock this morning. I was extremely upset about what happened. Oh no, I was glad you woke me, because after that, Joe, I happened to see that Spray Can was on and was doing a treasure hunt. So I went over to Spray Can, and I didn't have any money, but I like watching the treasure hunts because they're fun. Because the people have no idea what they're going to win. And Can from Can Collectibles bought a whole bunch of spots in the treasure hunt and gave me one of them. So of course, I'm wide awake because I have just won $50 on another channel. And so I'm watching this treasure hunt unfold, and they asked me what number I wanted. And I picked number 1, which was my friend Tommy's race car number before he passed away. And so I picked number 1. And number 1 turned out to be a $20 bill with a serial number sequence that had, I think he said 5 8s in a row. Now, I used to race figure 8. So I thought, wow, I just won $70 tonight doing nothing. So I was glad you woke me up. I really was. That was one of my better nights, actually. Uh, I'm gonna do something a little different today if I can find an articles. I haven't searched. Uh, but I was raised in Florida, and when we were kids, we always heard, about the ships that had crashed off the shores of Florida. And so whenever we got the opportunity to go to the beach, we always had something to sand with, because we were just absolutely sure that we were going to find some Spanish doubloons or something and get rich. And I don't know what we thought we were going to do after we got rich, because we didn't think it through that far. I mean, we were just kids. But it's a big thing in Florida, and especially on what they call the Treasure Coast. There are parts of the water over there that you are not allowed to even search in. They are considered to be owned uh, by the government, and you're not allowed to remove things. But if the stuff washes up on the beach, that's a different thing. You're allowed to detect the beach, but there's certain parts of the water down there that you are just not allowed to go poking around in. And there are shipwrecks all over down there, where billions have been found. So I was thinking about that this morning, and uh, I remembered back hearing about treasure down in Miami that was before I was born. So I thought I would look one of those up this morning, and sure enough, I found an article from 1941. And I guess this lady wrote a regular column, because it looks as though it is in the section with fashion and horoscopes and that sort of thing. But this one is the ABCs of a treasure hunter, from November 9th, 1941, from the Miami Herald. And it's written by, and what's funny is it's written by this lady who looks very prissy. Here she is, Helen Muir. Uh, and of course, next to her is some high fashion plate gal. So it's kind of an oddly placed article as well. I have not read it, so we're gonna find out what Helen thought about treasure hunting together. And it says ABCs of a treasure hunter. A treasure hunter is an individual, in parentheses, usually a man, who believes that he will one day dig up gold, silver, or jewels that have been buried in the earth or the sea. What a sexist little piece you are, Helen. There's an awful lot of ladies out there hunting treasure. But maybe in 1941 it was unladylike. Anyway, it says a treasure hunter has certain peculiarities. Generally, he will behave like other men, and then suddenly an irresistible urge will overtake him, and he will pick, shovel, and an assortment. Oops, I got to keep my hand off this dumb mouse. Anyway, pick, shovel, and an assortment of firearms and knives, and with an abstracted pat on his wife's shoulder, he will be off on a treasure hunt. Usually, the treasure hunter selects outrageous times for these expeditions. A watchful companion, after observing this phenomenon occur more than once, can usually detect a treasure hunt coming on. Miami is a hotbed of treasure hunters. This is due in part to the fact that Miami was near the route of the galleons. Furthermore, after Bolivar's rise, the power of Spain was so weakened it couldn't properly police this peninsula, so the entire state of Florida was turned over to buccaneers and renegades of all description whose pockets were well lined with gold. This, if you recall, was the reason President Monroe strongly urged Congress to buy Florida so the West Indies squadron could come down here and suppress piracy, which it did to the everlasting credit of the United States Navy. This lady's wackadoo, I'm sorry. Many an expedition is formed in Miami to go after treasures reputed to be hidden throughout Florida, up through the Swanee, on Blackbeard's Island off the coast of Georgia, over to the Gulf Coast where Gasparilla's treasure is said to be resting at the bottom of Charlotte Harbor, to the West Indies, Honduras, and even into the Everglades, and of course the Florida Keys. Those connected for any length of time with the fraternity of treasure hunters gradually become aware of the various grades of this species of man. Herewith, for your information and your protection, I list them. First grade. This treasure hunter usually feels, although he may not admit it publicly, that he has some connection with the buccaneers. This type will collect firearms, cutlasses, and prefer treasure hunts in which a sea voyage is involved. Many of these grades usually build up complete libraries of books on treasure, which they return to over and over. The greatest thrill that could come to a treasure hunter of this caliber would be for him to dig up a pirate's chest, preferably filled with Spanish gold and silver, plus a liberal sprinkling of sparkling jewels. This type is the aristocrat of treasure hunters. Second grade. This treasure hunter hopes for quick money without the accompanying labor. He is looked upon as a vulture by first grade treasure hunters. Second grade hunters are good men, more than likely, but they are willing to catch their excitement digging up a couple $100 behind a deserted hen coop. These fellows are looked upon by first-class treasure hunters in much the same manner as a criminal looks upon a kidnapper. Third grade. These are the men in whose minds a sense of fantasy has been omitted. Third grade treasure hunters have a dash of adventure, certainly, but their minds will run toward buried iron ore instead of gold plate. Hard-headed salvage men sometimes come up under type 3. And of course, circled about all three types are a whole gang of individuals who will fake charts, lie in every possible way to cook up a treasure hunting expedition that can be turned to their own benefit, either by selling the chart or the dip needle or doodle bug. And a doodle bug is what they used to call a metal detector. In parentheses, instruments used to detect treasure, or renting their boats. These men make quite a business of preying upon their brothers of the buccaneering bent. It is only fair to point out that women, once they become addicted to treasure hunting, are far more insidious than men. Anne Bonny and Mary Reed, who were members of Calico Jack Rackham's bloody band, proved that. Anne, who was the Lady Fair of Rackham, turned these words upon her lover just before he was hanged in Jamaica in 1720. Said Anne to Calico Jack, "If you had fought like a man, you need not be hanged like a dog." In conclusion, a treasure hunter may be lean or fat, tall or short, male or female. Today, the vast army of treasure hunters in the United States are following the Rainbow Trail. But most of all, they are after the sniff of antiquity, the mustiness in the air that accompanies the digging up of ancient gold. Oh, I found some pretty interesting things in that script, very much like some of the people that I know metal detecting today, and I could almost put them in the grade 1, 2, and 3 slots. So I guess she was a little bit smarter than I thought she was, except that I don't think she had a full grasp on things like why they would leave at certain times. And one of those is because if you were searching the beach, you were waiting for low tide, and that still holds today. The more sand you have to search, the bigger the possibility of finding something out there. There was a description there of the third grade one who just basically takes advantage of people by offering so-called maps and tours and that kind of thing. Shows you this big pile of treasure that they have allegedly found. There's one of those operating down in Florida right now. He's semi-legendary. Uh, let's see who came in while I was reading about that. Let me see. Oh my goodness. It's big country. I hope he doesn't drink any stale beer today. Only his Coca-Cola. I got my Costa Rican coffee here. It's about half gone already. I got a meeting today that I tried showing up 2 hours early for. Well, at least you tried to show up. Some people don't even do that. They just fail to appear. Yeah, I got to go today. I lost a prescription form for a medication that I have to take today because I have this procedure that I have to go to the hospital for tomorrow. So I was up pretty late last night looking for that little item, which I did find. So when we're done here, I got to go get this nasty thing that it probably tastes worse than that stale beer big country grabbed yesterday. And I have to consume that this evening. And that's not going to be a fun thing. Uh, I got more cards yesterday. I haven't figured out how we're going to work them in, but some of them do have other animals on them. So I will get it figured out. My problem was finding ones the same size. So I ended up buying us a 6-pack of children's card games that are fun for ages 3 and up. I figured that covers about half of my audience. So for right now, since we started this game with cats and dogs, we're going to stick with our cats and dogs. But then we got some other games to play with. We got, let me see if I can camera this without cameraing me, because y'all really don't want to see how bad I look in the morning before I do all the fancy schmancy that makes me look like a person. But we can look at the top of my desk, which is still full of 2020 quarters. I mean nickels. So we got 6 games that I'm going to go through and try to pick the animals out of and add them to our other. We got Slapjack, which has bees and ladybugs and butterflies and moths and grasshoppers, a spidey, caterpillar. So we got some more critters in there. And then over here, I don't think this one has critters. I think this one has people. I'm not sure. This is one of those games where you're supposed to match 2 cards, but yeah, this one has people and scenery in it, so we'll have to come up with something different. There's boys and girls in here, so we'll come up with something to do with that one. Then we got a memory game that has animal identification. So let's see what kind of critters are in this one. This one has elephants, giraffes, snakes, monkeys, a cheetah, a rhino, a snow leopard, a lizard, lions, gorillas, buffalo, a gazelle, a hippo, tigers, a crocodile. So we're expanding the zoo. I got this little box. It had all these kids' cards games in it for like $6. So I figured there would be something in there. Oh, and then we have Old Maid. Oh, no, I remember the memory game quite well. I was very good at it. I was so good at it that people didn't want to play it with me. Oh, this one's got fruits and vegetables in it. Well, we got tomatoes and beets and carrots and corn and peppers and pumpkins and broccoli and pears and oranges and strawberries, watermelons, bananas, grapes, lemons, and me, the old maid. Yep. So anyway, I have not quite figured out how I'm going to work all these in. We also have planets. Our crazy 8 deck is planets. So Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. There's my planet right there. The so-called planet Mars. And they're all there. And They're all there except they don't have Pluto in it anymore. Well, there's more than one game here that's like that. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different decks with 6 different games. And of course, it just would not be a kid's pack of cards if you did not have fish. We got go fish. Fishies. So I got all those cards. Then I got 2 other decks of cards, but I haven't opened them yet because they might actually be worth some money. So I got to check and see if they're worth anything. But I thought these would have appeal to some of you guys, especially. These are Star Wars villains playing cards. Got the villains from Star Wars in them, the nasty dudes. So I will be creating some more games. But since we started this one doing cats or dogs, we're going to finish it with cats or dogs, and then we'll use those for other things. And we have, according to the night bot, we have 4 whole people in here. Yeah, it kind of makes me sad. Before I moved and before I got sick, I used to have 50 to 100 people in my stream every time I went on. My record was the night I had 300. And it when you go off YouTube for whatever reason, you're sick or you have to go somewhere to work or whatever, and you lose your momentum. You lose everything that you worked for. And now I get 4 viewers, 5 viewers, and I'm like, what did I do? I took a bath. I dressed nice. I put my makeup on. Oh, wait a minute. It's not smell-o-vision. Nobody gives a shit. So anyway, here we are in the morning reading this strange news about treasure hunters and coin collectors. Now I'm up too early. If I hadn't been up for work, I would have missed it as well. There's no good time spot. I had a time spot that I was doing for over a year, and almost immediately after I had to stop broadcasting on that spot, 3 or 4 people started streaming on that spot, and so now I can't get it back. And there's no good time. There's always somebody streaming. Last night I even made the comment that I might just turn StreamYard on and just let it run and see if people show up. See what time people show up. Just sit here and watch it for a whole day. Yeah, that's exactly it, Big Country. Last night I had that situation where I was gonna do the rest of this ridiculous nickel box that was supposed to be uncirculated, but as you can see, those are all 2020p, so they were only circulated around Philadelphia, I guess. But I wanted to finish it because I'm going to roll those up and take them back. They're useless to me. But there were other people streaming at the same time that, interestingly enough, a couple of them got their start on my channel and then just bailed on me. But it's okay. I'll figure something out eventually. Uh, I went with this morning thing because I have to get up every morning and do this medical regimen that I really don't want to do. But if I get up and I line all of this stuff up and I take the meds and then I have my coffee, there's not much else I can do in that time period because I have to do all this medical stuff. So I figured, well, what the heck? I will just go ahead and run a stream then. And the other part of it was there was a channel that I used to go on pretty much every morning until some so-called patriots, and I am as patriotic as the next person, but I don't wrap myself in the flag and declare my beliefs to be the only ones that are right. But I had someone on there who decided to attack me because they found out that I have a different political belief than they do, and started calling me names like libtard, and uh, called one of my relatives the N word, and just generally and told me that COVID didn't exist the day after one of my best friends died from COVID. So I just decided I don't want to watch that stream anymore. I love the person that runs the stream, but I don't want my name sitting there over in the stream where it looks like I condone that kind of behavior, because I don't condone that kind of hate. And I don't want somebody to die because they're being fed false information. And see, that's what happened to my friend. My friend's family uh, did not believe that COVID was anything more than the flu and that they didn't really need to do anything. And what ended up happening was that my friend Mary Lou died because people in her family didn't take it seriously. So I decided I'm not intentionally streaming over them. This just happens to be the time that I have to get up in the morning and do what I have to do. So if people want to watch what I have to say, then that's great. And if they don't, that's fine too. You know, I'm actually trying to learn something by doing these news things. I have a perfect response to anyone trying to get me into a political conversation. I'm a felon. You can bug someone else with that mess. uh, I just think it's sad. And what I really think is sad, and a lot of people don't know this, somebody sent me a portion of the YouTube community, whatever they call it, responsibilities or whatever it is. Anyway, they sent me this section of it. And in that, it very specifically says that if you are caught deliberately spreading false information about COVID-19, they can shut your channel down. Why would you risk that for the sake of having 5 or 6 people up on your panel and having one of them up there saying it doesn't exist, it's just the flu. If you just build your immune system with elderberry syrup, I mean, why would you risk losing your channel over that? Especially somebody that has a monetized channel. One of my bosses came up to me one day and said, "Danny, you a Republican or a Democrat?" I said, "I'm a felon, Bobby. Leave me the hell alone." My deal is people automatically make an assumption that I am a Democrat because of some of the things I believe in. I have actually registered no party affiliation. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not an independent or a Green Party or anything. I am registered no party affiliation, which in my state you can do. And I pick based on my beliefs. I don't pick on a party line. If I think somebody has sound ideas that are in the best interest of the majority of people, and that includes felons. I fought long and hard when I lived in Florida to get voting rights back for felons, because some of the stuff that they had taken these people's voting rights away for were just plain stupid. A lot of them were pot convictions. And now Florida has basically, it hasn't kicked in fully yet, but pot's legal. So why are you taking somebody's voting rights away for something that's now legal? That just made no sense to me. I had a friend who was convicted of a felony for feeding homeless people, lost his right to vote. Are you kidding me? Just crazy, crazy stuff. But I am not a straight party ticket voter. Um, I'm just not. But to have that person call me a libtard and a snowflake and an idiot and made a comment about one of my relatives who is a young adopted child who has sickle cell disease. Well, when I mentioned that this child had sickle cell is a disease that primarily people of color get. So as soon as that little piece came out, this guy came out with the N-word. And so, why are you blaming an 8-year-old adopted kid for what color his skin is? I mean, there's something not right there. And I just didn't want my name to be seen on a list of people, because to me, if you're in that room and they're talking that stuff and you're listening to it, you are tolerating that behavior. And so I didn't want to tolerate it, so I decided to do something else in the morning. And I think what we're going to do this morning right now is make sure everybody has gotten their little old names down on the bot, and we're going to play some cat or dog and sign up some more qualifiers for the contest. We're getting closer to that contest date. And so we need to, yeah, James Eller's like, here? James, you're on that list so many times, it's hysterical. Okay. So it says we have 4 there, and it says we have 4 there. So everybody's present and accounted for. Let's see who is going to get their opportunity to get entered. And let's just roll it. Okay, Texas Joe. Cat or dog? Cat or dog for Texas Joe? Cat or dog? I can see you doing that, Big Country. Just climbing in the back of it. Yep. Let's go. Texas Joe says dog. Texas Joe got dog. On the list he goes for today. Yeah, you know these people later are going to be complaining because they don't have an opportunity to win these prizes. They're all going to show up on the day of the thing. And sorry, you didn't show up during the shows. So, okay, next victim. Lucky James Eller. Gee, I just couldn't get through a whole show if Lucky James Eller didn't pick a cat or a dog. Cat or dog to the James. Shaking him. Oh, he's going with the cat today. Meow. Uh-oh. That is not a cat. I'm so sorry. But that's not a cat. We'll let you try again later on, maybe. Got some new blood in the room. Del Brett just popped in. Let's make sure he got on the list. Yep. All right. Next person to pick their cat or dog is Charles. Cat or dog? Cat or dog? Well, you know what? However many Charles is going for cat. And Charles got the cat. Well, here's the thing. There's one big prize and then a couple of smaller ones. So those of you who have shown up both in the morning show and in my regular afternoon and evening shows, you got the best chance of winning the big stuff. And it's not like there's not a video out there that tells you how to get in the contest, because there is. There is a video that says all you got to do is show up. Yeah, the cats liked you pretty good yesterday. All right. I looked for a container to put these cards in. I couldn't really find anything that I wanted to buy, so. Big Country. I know he wants a platypus, but there's not one in the box yet. So you're just going to have to choose cat or dog. Just going to have to choose cat or dog. Well, you're itching to jump out of here. Come on, Country, pick me a winner here. Yeah, I do try to go over the rules because sometimes some different people come in, and it's not hard. I mean, I don't make my contest difficult. Oh, big country. There must have been something funny in that beer you had yesterday. Because that no kitty. That dog. That's a dog. All right, let's try one more here. And roll 'em. Del Brett. Cat or dog? Yeah, you're right about that, Texas Joe. Platypus proved God had a sense of humor. Dell says cat. Come on. Stay open box so I can get a card out of there. Kitty! Dell got another entry. Alrighty. Yeah, I may, I don't know how I'm going to feel this afternoon. I'm probably not going to be able to leave the house much after I start taking that medicine. So I may well just pop back on during the day and just give away some more entries. But I think everybody that was here got a chance this morning. They didn't all win, but everybody got a chance. Texas Joe, Charles, and Dell got back in the game. Let's see if I can find one more crazy news story. One of my newspaper archives seems to have gone out of business and taken my money. Either that or there are technical issues, so I can't get into those papers. And some of those I'm going to try and figure that out today, why I can't get to those. I hadn't even thought about this. This is from June of 1949 in a newspaper in Hinton, West Virginia. This is a topic I hadn't even looked at before. The original, if God was one of us, was somebody else. It was Jewel, but then Weird Al did his take on it. I do have to tell you, I am a major Weird Al fan, but not for reasons that most people would be. I am a major Weird Al fan because I grew up with his bass player, Stephen J., in Orlando, Florida. Steve has played in Weird Al's band for close to 30 years now. But I grew up with him. I used to go see the band that he played in at our local teen center. So, yeah, I love Weird Al. And I kind of think like Weird Al sometimes, I guess. I think he's hot. I don't think Steve J's that hot, but he's a nice guy. Uh, I'm more into Bermuda. Yeah, Joan Osborne. There you go. I'm more into the drummer Bermuda Schwartz, but Weird Al, he's got a mind of his own, and it is Stranger Fiction. But yeah, the platypus does prove God had a sense of humor, and that is the truth. Get this article to load. Come on, newspaper. Let's get me loaded up here. Uh, it was such a good topic too. I don't want to lose it. Because it was one I hadn't thought about. But now it's not letting me have my article. Here's my article. Let's go to the Daily News here. The article is actually, it was in a West Virginia paper, but it is from Las Vegas. So that's going to give you a little bit of a clue of what it's about. But I guess you can counterfeit just about any kind of money. And these folks, back in 1949, decided we're going to counterfeit chips. And I don't mean like potato chips. I mean like polka chips. So let's see what happened with these folks. And so let's view the clipping called Counterfeiters in the Chip. And in June 1949, Las Vegas, Nevada. Counterfeiters switching their talents to chips instead of money cashed more than $5,000 worth of fake chips in the swank gambling casino of Hotel El Rancho Vegas, police reported today. Red-colored $25 bogus chips were turned in over the Memorial Day weekend here by 4 men and possibly 2 women. District Attorney Robert E. Jones said. Ray S. Phillips, 30, of Los Angeles, was held by the Los Angeles Police Department, who said they would return him to Las Vegas to face charge of obtaining money under false pretenses. It was probably a lot easier to counterfeit a chip than it was an actual coin. But I certainly had not really thought about that one. I'm sure those guys weren't the only ones doing it, but they certainly got it done. Yeah, I think that counterfeiting the chips, of course, I would really have to look at what a 1949 poker chip looked like, because I don't think they were really plastic. They might have been Bakelite, which was a form of plastic, but I don't think the details would have to be as exact. I believe it would be less noticeable than an error on a coin. Yeah, I'm looking at some poker chips from the time period, and some of them look. Let's look at one from Casino 1949, just to see what a poker chip from 49 look like. It's not going to let me. The page is so old, it's deceased. Yeah, I probably have a couple of deceased pages. But yeah, some of them look like they're just like made out of zinc, or uh, that they certainly don't look like they're precious metal, brass maybe. Yeah, here's a whole page of poker chips. But I really want a 1949. What was the name of that place? Oh, well, I will look it up. But by looking at them, it looks like this would be something a lot easier to counterfeit than actual coins, and probably a lot easier to pass as well. Simply because the game is moving fast and you're throwing more than one chip into the pot. So yeah, that's a whole new story there. Next week, I'm going to start on this military thing, the counterfeiting within the military. Some of it was done to uh, foul up the financial system of the enemy. But I have also found stories that counterfeit pay script was issued to the Union Army during the Civil War by the United States. That's the one that just floors me. They were so afraid that these soldiers were just going to pack up and come home because they weren't getting paid, that they actually paid them in phony money. And I was floored. This is just not something you think about, that our government duped our soldiers into continue to fight by paying them with fake money. And I understand more now. There used to be, especially later in the Civil War, there were a lot of soldiers who just deserted. They took what they called farm furloughs, which meant that they went home because their family was writing to them saying, look, there's no food. Somebody's got to come help with the farm. But now I'm starting to wonder, were these really farm furloughs, or were these, hey, these a-holes gave me fake money, and now I can't pay my bills, or I'm in trouble because I sent this money to my wife and she went down to the store and tried to buy food for the baby and found out that the money that the army gave me was fake. So that one story right there, I'm working seriously on, because I want to see how prevalent it was. And the thing about it is, the person in Washington, D.C., who was in charge of, who was said to have done this, openly admitted, yeah, I did it. I did it. Like it was nothing. Like, whoa, Nelly. So anyway, I've got some interesting stuff coming up for next week, and I have some more stuff about the coins that we collect on our own. Like I'm still cracking up over somebody arguing with me about the Indian on the Indian head penny. And I found the articles that, and featured the articles that showed that that was not an Indian at all. It was the wife of the artist's friend and he used her profile and put the Indian headdress on her, and she was no more Indian than my cat M3. But people think she was. Oh, there's old Scratch and Go Crazy. Now he's monkeyed up the works, and Coin Chaser is here, and so there's some other people here. So before I sign off, I might as well throw a couple more cats and dogs in. Couple more cats and dogs in the box. It says it's time to shake her up, baby. And let's see who gets an entry today. I'm going to do 2 more entries. And I put everybody back in. So everyone is back in the pot. And Scratch and Go Crazy. Cat or a dog? Cat or dog for Scratch? Yeah, I'm just getting ready to go to the doctor as soon as I get done here with you guys. Scratch says woof. And since I don't have any woofing cats in here, come on, Scratch. You can do better than that. That's a cat. Let's pick it. Put everybody back in the thing. Lucky James Eller. It's your turn, feller. Yeah, Texas Joe, I am very familiar with the World War I soldiers. Yeah, they actually went in and burnt them out. They had built shanties out there, and they actually burned them out. And some people died, and it was all because they were trying to get their pensions that they had been promised. James Eller says cat. James Eller gets cat. James Eller, you are the luckiest guy. I want to go to the casino with you, or have you pick my my lottery numbers or something, because you win all the time. All right, let's hit one more for the road, and then I got to get ready to go to the doctor and get this god awful prescription for tomorrow. Yeah, I was not the best in math and science, but things like world history, geography, civics. I started out in college as a political science major, and then I switched to broadcast journalism because I thought I would have a better chance of getting truth out to people. But in the 70s, if you were a female, and you were in broadcasting, it was basically go get my coffee and open the mail. They really did not want you on the air. I did manage to get on there a little bit, but Coin Chaser, are you in the house? Yeah, I'm edumacated. That's it. I be edumacated. That's why I use that little Susie Smart right there. That was the toy that was created in the late 1950s, early 1960s that promoted educating girls. And that was the one toy I wanted more than anything. And my dad would not allow me to have it because my dad thought all girls should be barefoot, pregnant, in the kitchen, baking cookies, that we were just supposed to be stupid. And my sister is not at all stupid, and in fact has a son who is a history professor at Cal State. So we get into some very interesting history discussions. Someday I'll have to tell you all about my great-great-grandfather. Well, I don't know where Coin is. I'm waiting on Coin Chaser to pick a cat or a dog. May have already left the scene. Y'all want to pick for Coin Chaser? We need some fresh blood in here. So yeah, my nephew is absolutely brilliant. I can if I'm stuck on some kind of history question, I can email him and he will not only provide me with a response, but he will cite his sources so I know where the information came from. Okay, I've got 2 people said dog and 1 said cat. So we're just going to be nice to Coin Chaser. He might have had to go to the bathroom or something. So we're just going to throw him in anyway because he showed up. And he got a cat. Let me consult with M3. M, cat or dog? Okay. M3 says cat gets it. So we'll put the Coin Chaser in for today. Yeah, I do have a real interesting great-grandfather on my mom's side that was actually you don't really think about there being such a thing as political prisoners during the Civil War. My great-grandfather found a way to be one. And it was a doozy. And his brother and a bunch of other people too. I'm still I don't even tell people where he is buried because I'm afraid people will go and desecrate his grave. He followed his beliefs, but where he lived, those beliefs were not necessarily popular. So we don't even tell people where he's buried, just because. Well, Scratch, you do know that I am a professional genealogist. I used to work for Ancestry.com. I even taught classes for them online at one time, and then a different company bought them and did not want to pay us what we were worth. So then I became an independent genealogist. So if you want to hire a genealogist, because I don't pay the $250, $300 a year for my certification anymore, I work cheap. I'm just not going to pay that because all it says is that you know how to do your job, and after 30 years, I don't think I need a piece of paper to tell me I know how to do my job. I do have references, by the way, and I have a channel that I just started, and I will put the name of it up here. I don't happen to have the link handy because I'm lazy and I doesn't normally have anything to do with this topic of the morning. But I have done some uh, research on the Cherokee tribe. Texas Joe, where were they held? The political prisoner that I'm talking about was held at Rock Island, Illinois, which, if you have ever read Gone with the Wind or watched Gone with the Wind, they refer to it as hell. Uh-oh. What'd Mikey do now? I'm not near as mad as Mikey as I am at my brother Andy. My brother Andy can go sit on a stick right now for all I care after what he did to me last night in his stream. But oh, because he's late. Yeah, well, Mikey's on vacation, guys. You got to understand, Mikey is not at home. Mikey's probably in Florida by now. So he's got a hall pass. It's a long way back from Florida. All right. So I may pop back on later today. Oh, now everybody shows up. Just when I'm getting ready to leave. There's Les and there's Mikey and there they are. But yeah, I'm gonna have to pull out my scrapbooks and find the stories about my great grandfather, and some of them do actually involve counterfeiting. So they might be interesting. But like I said, for years he always said, and there was truth to it, that he knew Abraham Lincoln. Well, yes, he did know Abraham Lincoln. They lived near each other in Illinois. But then he also made this claim that he had been a political prisoner, and we all laughed, everybody laughed it off, even after he was dead, people, did not believe it. And then one day I was searching newspapers and I found the article. No, he was not at all a captured Confederate soldier. He was not a soldier at all. He belonged to a renegade group. Some people lump all of these different renegade groups together and call them copperheads. But I'm just going to give you the name of the group, and you can go and do a little homework on it if you want. He belonged to a group called the Knights of the Golden Circle. There's not a whole lot of information out there about the Knights of the Golden Circle, but they were definitely troublemakers. And interestingly, as part of his sentence, when they released him from prison, he was not allowed to own property or have more than $10 in money. Oh yeah, they were marauders. He was a piece of work, and he had a bunch of brothers, and a couple of them were with him, but the rest of them were so far the other way that it makes the story really crazy to wonder how he even got to this point. But after he was released, he was not allowed to own any property, and he was not allowed to have more than $10. So everything in that part of the family belonged to his wife. And in her will, which I have the original copy of her will, she left the farm to her daughter and her daughter's husband, and she left her husband $1. $1. It's a really, really good story, and it'll take me a while to put it together But yeah, it's when he said he was a political prisoner, it wasn't like I was a Confederate and I got caught up north. No, this was a whole different kind of thing. And some of the stuff they did, I'm like, I I'm kind of proud of him for standing up for what he believed, but I'm also extremely embarrassed by the way he chose to stand up for his beliefs. And it's one of the more interesting stories in my family tree. Uh, every family's got some strange skeleton in the closet. This guy is ours. he and apparently after he got in all of the trouble and he had served his time, uh, yeah, my mother years later worked at the Rock Island Arsenal. I'm from originally from Iowa, right across the river from Rock Island. So I have actually toured parts of Rock Island that are no longer open to the public. And one of my cousins was the head of protocol there, so I could get into records and things that the normal person could not access. Yeah, Rock Island was not a place you wanted to be. And particularly if you were considered a traitor to the United States government, which that's what these guys were. And there wasn't just one or two of them. They, in the newspaper article that I found that actually named him, there were 12 men named, and there was another one of his brothers involved. So, and they were rounding up groups. I did not pursue it too much more except to look for my relatives, but the group was very active in the Midwest, and they were not nice. All right, guys, I would love to sit here and talk about history and counterfeit poker chips and all of that good stuff, but I have medical things I got to take care of. Uh, like I said, after I go pick up this medicine, I'm probably not going to be leaving the house for the rest of the day. So I may pop back on later with some more craziness. We may sort through some more of these pennies. I did go through the last three rolls of nickels that look like they might have been circulated. And I found a couple things, nothing great. I'm trying to decide if I actually want to open any more of them because, truthfully, if I look at the ends of them, they all look like nothing but 2020s. But I could be wrong. So we may open one or two of these later today. And I do have about a half of a box of pennies left. So I may do some of that today. Some coinage and carnage. uh, I did find last night when I was doing some pennies a 1928 Wheatie. So and it looks pretty good too. So there are a few Wheaties mixed in these bankrolled ones. So we'll see what happens then. Thank y'all for stopping by, having coffee with me. Stay out of trouble. Be nice to everybody. Let's stop with the name calling and the lying because you're embarrassed that something happened. I could lie and say, oh, my great grandfather, he was a judge, he was this, he was that. No, he wasn't. He was a freaking crook. He was a vigilante. Oh well. I wasn't there. I had no control. All right. We'll see y'all later and take care. Uh, like I said, we got until Monday. I'm going to try to get on every day, except I do not believe I will be on tomorrow because I have to be at the hospital at 9 a.m. They're going to keep me at least 5 hours. And I'm probably not going to feel like sitting at the computer once I get home. So we may not get anybody signed up tomorrow, which is why I may come back on this afternoon and get a few more people signed up because the big drawing is on Monday. And all of those people that are skipping my show are not going to be eligible to win. And unfortunately, it does not look like I am going to get the 30 more people that I need to reach 800. If I could reach my 800 subs, I was going to put another troy ounce silver round in, but got to get those folks. Oh, and I got to go answer an email before I forget. So let me go find out what Muscle Shell needs. And I'll see y'all later. Thanks for coming by. Hope you learned something. Susie Smart with the news. Bye-bye.